Hello, this is Mike. In this screencast, I'm going to look at a particular tool we might wish to apply when we reach that point of the social media planning cycle. The tool in question is the microblogging platform Twitter. And in the presentation, I specifically want to just talk about some of the basic uses of Twitter in business and give some general guidance on how to follow and be followed, and one or two advanced techniques such as creative use of lists and things like that. So, the basics. Let's think about Twitter and put it all in context. It's a microblogging platform, 140 character limit, first launched in 2006. By the back end of 2013, it had over 1 billion users worldwide. And to be honest, it's growing rapidly. Whatever figure I put up there will be hopelessly out of date now you're watching this. In most countries, access continues to be via mobile device. It's reached about 80% penetration in the UK from a mobile. So the short character and text message-like format makes it amenable to our smartphones. And so most people tweet and pick up messages via that particular platform. There are over 500 million tweets a day on average at the time I'm recording this. Really, they're very quick messages because they only last about 22 seconds. After that, they've fallen out of your Twitter stream and are buried in a sea of past messages. So, you really need live, real-time conversation for Twitter to be particularly effective. And 3/4 of users on average are accessing it daily, using it around 3 hours a month. Some terminology, just so that we all understand what we're talking about in the remainder of the presentation. We commonly talk about a Twitter handle, that's a username. So my Twitter handle is @HobbitsChoice. Following someone, that's simply you subscribe. You want to see someone else's tweets or they do the same to you and follow what you have to say. Retweeting, that's about forwarding a message on that you find interesting to a large number of your followers. Favoriting, that's just bookmarking a tweet so that you can quickly return to it later. And DMing or direct messaging, this is where you talk to someone in private just by putting a D in front of the address. So D@HobbitsChoice allows you to send a message that only I will see. So it's as close to text messaging as it's possible to get. Some other basic terms. It's common to talk about the 6 main types of tweet. There's the classic tweet. Twitter was set up to allow us to post quick responses to one question: what are you doing now? Kind of a what are you up to question. And really a lot of early tweets were I'm eating a cheese sandwich, I'm sitting on a train to Washington DC, stuff like that. But of course you can use that in a more creative way these days. There are opinion tweets. What are you thinking? I'm angry that my parcel hasn't arrived. I tweeted that to a mail company who hadn't delivered a parcel on time to China. There are accomplishment tweets, which are about the question, what have you just done or achieved? Hey, I've just passed my economics exam. Entertainment tweets, what are you enjoying at the moment? Wow, tonight's episode of Doctor Who was fantastic on TV, something like that. Question tweets, these are particularly good. I often use these among networks of teachers to try and look for sources of things that I want to use. So can anyone help me with? Anyone know a good blog about fish? And there's the picture tweet. You can post media content into Twitter now. So look at me, I'm at Universal Studios today. Is one of my favorites because it was one of my favorite days out. Twitter has a lot of business uses. It's a great way of distributing comment or news. So, for example, here's a press release about our latest product. It's an excellent method of providing customer service and support. Help, I'm having problems with changing my airline ticket and my flight's been delayed. That one worked for me with an airline who instantly responded. It can be used for leads generation and negotiating sales. The time I'm recording this, a purchase button is being added to Twitter. There's product feedback and polling. It's a great way of getting feedback on your goods and services that you're supplying from customers, and the polling function is useful for that. Polling allows you to do multiple choice questions and display the results as a graph. Check out apps like TwitPoll for this, which are free. I find them great in the classroom, having ask the audience style questions to test student understanding. And of course, it's a great way of promoting your brand and raising awareness. Get your Twitter handle as your brand name, vice versa. It's a great way of raising awareness. So let's think first of all about getting started in Twitter and some of the basic mistakes that people make. I think the most important thing to do is, if you're thinking of having a Twitter account, ensure it aligns to your strategic objectives. If you start going off on a particular path with Twitter and using it for particular functions, and then it isn't properly aligned to your strategic plan, you can find it difficult to get people to stop using the channel for that purpose and switch to another use later. So really think it through. Consider what the business role is going to be and how you need to position both the tone and the content. So the example I've got here is if you're a leadership consultant, it could be you want to create greater exposure to you as a brand, an individual brand, and generate new leads and prospects that way, perhaps by establishing yourself as a guru. That's where the Twitter handle comes in. Give some thought to this before you just open your account. If I want to establish myself as a guru on leadership, because I'm a management consultant, then @guru-on-leadership would be the obvious Twitter handle to have. And then, of course, that carries through to how you set up the basic page when you create the Guru on Leadership account. Think about the color scheme, the profile picture or logo that you're going to use, the style of wallpaper, and so on. What do you want it to look like? My advice here is explore lots of good examples of Twitter pages. See what others are using, not just in your own sector, but across the piece. This then brings you on to the importance of your profile, your bio, and how to optimize that. It's interesting because in Twitter, rather like the actual tweets themselves, there's a very small character limit, 160 characters. So you've really got to get yourself across in terms of your value proposition very succinctly. Think about that. Think about it very carefully before you set it up. Make sure your message is really clear as to how you're positioning yourself. If you have other Twitter accounts, you might want to include those in your bio so people know to follow you at different locations on Twitter for different things. Just like the tweets themselves, be succinct. Think about what you're writing in terms of keywords, in terms of search engine optimization. Don't be afraid to put a couple of hashtags into your bio. I'll come on to the power of the hashtag in a little while. Never set your tweets to auto post. Okay, I know a lot of people, to get traffic very quickly early on in a social media campaign, they'll have their tweets set to appear in Facebook or Facebook posts to be retweeted via Twitter and so on. Don't do that. It breaks all the rules of segmentation. Each channel should be for a specific target audience. Otherwise, it's not being strategically aligned to your business objectives. So use each channel for a specific purpose and don't cross-post. That would be my advice. You'll just irritate your audience because the people who want to hear you start seeing the same content over many channels and they just start abandoning particular channels because they think, oh, they just repeat themselves in different places. Don't do it. If you've got multiple accounts, and it sometimes makes sense, make sure that they are aimed at particular functions or more commonly particular market segments. And so in other words, if you have several Twitter accounts for your organization, aim them at different audience segments and use them in a strategic manner. As an example, say I'm a security company. I provide general services to business, but I also have two key market segments that make up a large part of my business: providing security to the retail sector and providing security to motor dealerships. I might therefore decide to have 3 Twitter accounts for my security company. At Hobbit Force, the main name of the company that I use to blog about, to tweet about general security related issues. I could have a Twitter feed at Hobbit Force Retail, where I tweet about topics of interest to the retail sector and allied sectors. And I could have at Hobbit Force Motors, aimed at the automotive audience. So 3 variants on the same brand. Hobbit Force is in all of them. The general one and the 2 more specialized ones for my important sectors. Once you've got everything set up, you want to think about following and being followed. So some thoughts from me on this. Think very carefully and strategically about who you want to follow and how if you've got multiple accounts, who each of those accounts should be following, because they don't want to be in the same. There needs to be a degree of segmentation here too. So, for example, to continue with the Hobbit example, my Hobbit Force security account could follow general security industry sources. My Hobbit Force retail one could follow retailers and others servicing the retail industry. And my Hobbit Force Motors one, again, could be targeted towards following people and organizations in the automotive sector. You also, early on, will follow people who prove to be really good and really prolific, and there's a lot of useful tweets coming into your stream. But there'll be others who don't say very much or don't have any great content to offer. There are a lot of apps out there, but something like Tweet Cleaner is great. It helps you monitor activity. It'll show up, for example, people who haven't tweeted very regularly, or if at all, since you started following them. It'll also flag up people who are tweeting at such a high level that it's probably spamming. You can then have a closer look and get rid of some of these people. So constantly work to optimize who you are following. And these apps are great because something like Tweet Cleaner will also spread out and show you the networks of people who are following each other. So you're following some people. Who are they following? Who are they in turn following? And they'll give you reports on the volume of traffic across that spreading spider's web. And of course, once you're tweeting yourself, you can see how well you're doing and how influential you are within that network. So look at some of these tools. A lot of them, to be quite honest, are free and are very, very powerful. Then there's the reverse issue to face. How do I get, particularly as a new user, people to follow me? This is a tricky one, but there are some straightforward ground rules that I can give you here. First of all, someone's just followed me. I better follow them back. No. Twitter etiquette is such that we all understand that our streams would become completely unmanageable if we attempt to do that. So it's an unwritten rule of Twitter that just because someone follows you, you don't have to follow them back, and vice versa. Everyone understands that we all have particular objectives. You could get yourself followed by retweeting. This is where you see something interesting posted by someone you're following and you pass it on to your followers. This is a great way to get yourself noticed early on, and you only need, as I had early on with my Twitter stream, 1 or 2 of the key influencers within the network, people whose views others like to see. Once they start following you, there's a higher likelihood that the other people in the network will start to follow you too. So deliberately target some of these key influencers, work out who's important in your network. Make sure that the content of your tweets is relevant to you, not just to your strategic objectives, but to your followers too. If you set up an account to tweet about the retail sector, don't start tweeting about I don't know, computer manufacturing or something completely irrelevant to the sectors you're normally working in. Keep the content focused, make sure each tweet is planned, and link it to a desired outcome, a KPI. So if you're tweeting to promote a rock concert, for example, because you're in the entertainment industry, you want to have a KPI that is, well, how many tickets were subsequently sold as a result of my Twitter traffic. Again, there are tools out there, Tweet Stats and Tweet Reach are two of them that spring to mind to me. They help you monitor how well your posts are performing in terms of how far they're spreading through the network, and that will include geographically. So what countries are you and territories are people reading your tweets? Response rate, how many people are reading them and retweeting them? How much traffic are they bringing? If you've posted a link to your corporate website, how many of visitors did the tweets bring to your website, and so on. So look at all of this too, and it'll give you a clue of the levels of activity, who's following you, and where are they going. A couple of other advanced techniques that I'd like to think about before I conclude. The first one is the use of lists. Now, this is great because this is a list in Twitter is a group of people that you follow grouped together according to a particular category. So, for example, I follow industry people, I follow academics, and so on. I might have a list of academics, so these are people in universities around the world whose tweets I like to read. That would be a list, and so on. So it's grouping the people you follow into segments. It's segmentation. You have the choice as well of making your lists public. This is a really good way of encouraging the growth of your network. By a public list, I mean anyone visiting your profile can see who you're following, unless the person in question has their privacy settings in a particular way. So they'll see the list of academics that I'm following and think, oh, he's following them. It might be interesting to explore a few. And they in turn will then acquire followers. And of course, the same thing will happen in reverse. So all of this builds awareness of you and the people you're interested in, and hopefully they'll be interested in you. Organizations can apply that principle too. You could use internal lists too, for example. So, for example, in the university, there are lots of Twitter accounts. So I've got lists that organize them in terms of service operations. So what are the marketing and alumni team posting? I might have all of those accounts in a list. I might have another list which are academic departments. So what are people in different departments saying on the academic side of things? And so on. You could do the same with functions within your business. Group them into lists of relevance. You can also keep some lists private, and I would strongly advise you to think about doing so. Most organizations, it has to be said, like to follow their competitors. And if you're going to organize them into lists, I would keep those lists private, because you're telling a rival a lot about your business if you post a public list of who you see as your main competitors. So avoid that. And there'll be other occasions where you want to keep those lists private. If you keep a list private, only you can see it. So, think very carefully about that and the strategic significance of the public-private angle. And remember, this is a powerful tool. Every Twitter account can have up to 500 members in a list and up to 20 lists. So, there's plenty of scope there to group people that you're following into particular segments. Use it wisely. And then finally, there's the power of the hashtag. A hashtag is basically use of a symbol, the American pound sign, which when you place it in front of a word or phrase, instantly converts it into a searchable keyword. So the examples I've got here, if I put Grimsby University and have a hashtag in front of it, anyone could search for hashtag Grimsby University, and anything that anybody's posting about Grimsby University with that hashtag will appear in my stream at once. So Star Trek Returns. You could, for a product such as a movie, but it could be a brand of cheese, have a hashtag in front of it, so people talking about the product can I'm interested in reading what people are saying about a product, perhaps to review the Star Trek Returns movie. They can quickly search and find all the posts about it on Twitter. And of course, increasingly marketers are getting very clever with the use of hashtags, and slogans are being turned into hashtags too, to spread a tagline around the internet. So, I want a new Prada handbag, for example. Hashtags basically help us to find other relevant posts, and in turn they lead to more following and being followed. Lots of marketing campaigns are built around them these days, and they're very, very effective. You'll also hear the terminology trending used a lot in Twitter. Trending is simply kind of a league table where what your Twitter tell you where there's been high volume uses of particular hashtags. And of course, if you're engaged in marketing activity, you want some buzz around a brand, that's a really good thing to do. You want to be trending well. You want there to be a lot of tweets about that brand. A word of warning, however, if you create too many hashtags, this can become problematic because you don't know which one to use for which purpose, and so you dilute the effect. And the big no-no in Twitter etiquette is what's called mash tagging. We do see organizations attempt to do this from time to time, where they start using a hashtag created by somebody else as part of their marketing activities. So avoid that at all costs. Yeah, you won't make yourself very popular on Twitter if you start hijacking hashtags that have become particularly associated with something else. So that's just my quick Twitter 101. Think about what Twitter is being used for in your business and how it might be used. Think of the different types of tweet you should engage in, the classic tweet, the entertainment tweet, and so on, and how they might be matched with particular audience segments. If necessary, use different hashtags for different key segments, and post different types of content through different Twitter handles too. And don't forget, probably the couple of the biggest things that you can master in terms of impact on your business are the usable lists for segmenting purposes. This helps you organize who you listen to, but it also, if the lists are public, helps you get followed. And the hashtag, which can be used for everything from simple keyword searching to helping spread a brand or slogan. So there you go, some thoughts from me on Twitter. Hope you found them useful. Thank you.